Good morning, Jamie. How's it going?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Doing all good. The reason I have you on my podcast today is because you are the realest real estate investor I know in Dubai.
I appreciate it.
Before we go talking about the questions, tell me a bit more about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and my career started when I was about 20, 22 years old. I started in a company in New York City. I lived in an all-black community.
Okay.
And I was dedicated to my community.
Right.
I was dedicated to helping my community grow, teaching children, the ins and outs of life, and not wanting them to get caught up in, the ills of the streets in New York City. I happened to volunteer for a company called Northeast Brooklyn Housing. Northeast Brooklyn Housing was a real estate company, one of the biggest real estate companies in Brooklyn, New York, and it was a 501c3, I think it's called, which is a place where the government gives money to them to create affordable housing.
Wow, okay.
Right? And that's where the whole affordable housing thing comes in that you hear me talking about on my post, right? And I think I was about 23 years old. Let me back up. I was about 23 years old at the time. I started out as a reception. I could barely type.
Okay.
And I did this pro bono. Was not getting paid for it. I just came in. I just wanted to work. I wanted to be a part of our community. Right. I wanted to make change and not be a part of the problem. Right. And so they gave me the opportunity. Jeff Dunstan, who's my mentor, he gave me an opportunity. And so we started doing a whole lot of things for the community in regards to affordable housing, giving out free foods, giving underprivileged kids trips upstate and all sorts of things. But we were underfunded.
I see.
So there was a lot of things that I couldn't do that I always had dreams of doing, but the lack of cash inside our community didn't allow for me to do a lot of things that I wanted to do.
Right.
But to go back and not have a stream of conscience, I was a receptionist. After a year, I became the property manager.
Wow.
And after 2 years, I was their senior property manager at Northeast Brooklyn Housing. During that time, I was able to go back to school, get my education, become a certified property manager, certified asset manager, and facility manager. So that's my background.
That's awesome.
Property management, asset management, facilities management.
Wow. So I see on your Instagram that you're always out and about in Dubai, but especially in Old Dubai, Perth Dubai, Satwa, Karama. You sublet, correct?
I sublet, yes.
And you don't sublet like a normal subletter. You sublet in a paranormal yet awesome way. Tell me more.
Okay, first of all, I concentrate on the underprivileged areas, those areas that are not desirable by most investors. I feel more comfortable in those areas because I can't say where I come from in Brooklyn, New York, is like that because I don't have an underprivileged background, but I grew up in an underprivileged area. And so when I go to places like Satwa and Karama and Horalans, I see the beauty in those places, right? But outside of the beauty of those places, I see the beauty in the people. I see people, it reminds me of New York City. It's nostalgia when I see the train going by, when I see all the shops and I see the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
This reminds me so much of New York City. And so I become very passionate about those areas, and why not provide those people in those areas with suitable accommodations that are affordable, clean, and safe. Hence the reason why you see that happiness on me when I'm over there, because I'm at my most comfortable. I'm not comfortable in Marina. I'm not comfortable in Dubai Hills because that's where the sharks lie.
Right.
I'm comfortable in those areas that I know that I can bring value to the people, and the people are going to actually appreciate what I'm bringing to them because it's so different.
Wow. That's awesome. And those areas, I've come across that a lot. I've lived there. I see every person has a different story. You walk up to anybody, they won't scream at you. They'll say hi, hello. They're so welcoming. It's an amazing place. and you sublet in that area. How exactly do you sublet?
Okay, what I do is, and I'll tell you how it started. Like I go in those areas and I see companies like SBK,
Okay.
and SBK are in a lot of those areas, those undesirable areas. And I said, they're over here for a reason. Because SBK, I pretty much feel like they have caught on to the volume business model. Okay, yes, these are poor areas in Dubai, but there's money over there in property management and renting, because they're subletting as well.
Right.
Because SBK gets, or these other companies like Rocky Property Management, they get these properties from owners, Emiratis, because only Emiratis can buy in those areas. They get these properties from them, and then they manage them. Or they give a sum to sublet those properties. And I said, it's not much money over here. It's not about the money. It's the volume. It is about the money. It's the volume business. If I have 10 properties there and I'm making only $200,000 a year, I'm not making $200,000 a year off each property. I'm making $2 million because I have 10. So the business in those lower income areas, it's volume business.
Right.
That's what we go for. So when I'm in that area now, for me, I can make up to $700,000 off of one apartment building that I rent, that I sublet. And I'll explain to you how I do it, right? So I can make $700,000, but to compete with everybody else, I lower my margins. So off the average building now, I may make $400,000, $300,000 to $400,000. But what's the goal? The goal is to have 20 million.
Right.
So that 400,000 now turns into what, 8 million, something like that. I mean, 4 million, and 4 million net, not 4 million growth, 4 million gross. So it's worth it to be in those areas because there's not much competition. No one wants to be over there, and you only see 2 companies actually there now that are operating in that area. And my company, JJ Vaganova Real Estate, will be the 3rd. And awesome. I aim to be the #1 property management company in that area in the next 5 years.
That's awesome. I've seen Rocky Real Estate. They're very experienced in the market. They've been here for a long, long time. We've met them a while ago. And that's a very old company. How do you plan on creating a new company in Dubai or a semi-new company in Dubai to compete against a 30-year-old company? What do you think is going to make you different?
I'll go back to your last question to answer it properly.
Okay, sorry.
In regards to how I sublet. What I do is that I may take a building, right? And I concentrate on what? I concentrate on the shops.
Okay.
Right? In my mind, I'm saying I want to make profit off of these shops.
Okay.
So usually the buildings in those lower income areas, they'll have 23 studios and 3 shops.
Okay.
I'm not concerned with the studios. I'm only concerned with the money that I'm going to make for the shops.
Okay.
I may break even on the studios when we do the math with the accountant, right? So I'm getting them on average from the owner at $50,000. I rent them for $50,000, right? How do I make my money? Lease renewals.
Okay.
I'll get $1,000 to $1,500 yearly.
Right.
Commission.
Right.
Right. And other add-ons that we do in the real estate business where people wouldn't even think, oh, wow, you actually make, yes, off lease renewals and commission, I can make $100,000 a year off a 20-unit building.
And which commission is this? From where does this commission
That's if you want to move in and you have to pay $3,000-$4,000, whatever it is, 5% commission to the agent. I'm the agent.
Okay, so you work directly with
my company is the agent.
Awesome.
So you got to come directly to us, and we're going to charge you a fee to come into our property.
Right.
Right. So that's a commission. We don't deal with agents. We are agents ourselves.
Awesome.
So so I'm going to get income from that. I'm going to get income from lease renewals.
Right.
And all sorts of other little things I won't mention right now. And that's how you pull money from the apartments that I said I'm going to just break even with these apartments, right? But I'm going to pull money from them by these small things that are legal fees that you can charge during a tenant's tenancy, right? But again, my focus are those shops at the bottom that can go for $110,000 each. yearly. So I know for a fact that my net profit will be $330,000 just from
Guaranteed.
those shops, guaranteed. Then I'll make another 100 from the lease renewals and the commission, because you're going to have move-ins and move-outs.
A lot.
Right? A lot. So...
And are a majority of your buildings working on a month-to-month basis, week-to-week basis, or year-to-year basis?
It depends what I'm running, right? The reason I prefer month-to-month, I'll do whatever it is within the realms of the law. The reason why I personally like month-to-month leases, pretty much like a holiday homes concept, but for a permanent renter, is because when you want to get a renter out of your property who's not paying the rent, it may take a while. There's a process with RERA. But if that person is on a month-to-month lease,
if the check bounces once, they're out.
You don't have,
Yeah.
And you can have that within your lease. And so it's more of it can be like a holiday homes concept. But the thing is that don't put them on yearly leases.
Okay.
And then you can also be flexible with the rent when you do that as well. So there's a gain and a loss.
Right.
But the thing I don't want is a tenant staying in my property and hurting me and my bottom line.
Would that be known as a squatter, as a property squatter?
Well, a property squatter is different. Like in America, a property squatter, they have squatters' rights. And, mashallah, in the UAE, there's no squatters' rights. You can't just go and reside in someone's dwelling and say, well, I've been here 6 months, so I can stay here. No, there's laws. RERA has laws that are totally against someone coming into an apartment and just sitting and staying there. Unlike in America, someone can come sit in my house and then act like they own it, and it'll take me years to get them out.
Wow.
But here, you're trespassing.
Yeah.
If you're in someone's apartment.
That's jail time.
That's right. That's your business. And that's one of the things I love about the UAE. They enforce laws, but the laws are logical.
Yeah.
But again, like, you're not going to go and just sit in my building and then say I have squatters' rights. No, I'm going to call the police, say he's trespassing. The police are going to come and say, yo, do you have a lease? And he's going to say, no, you have to leave.
Yeah.
Unlike in other countries, even without a lease, they can sit in a property.
I think that's what makes Dubai so special. See, I don't mind paying 9% corporate tax. I don't mind paying 5% VAT. I don't mind spending how much money I can on Dubai. Because I know for safety and for the well-being of my family, my business, I am safe. And that's what's the differences between countries like America, Canada, and Western countries compared to Dubai. Dubai is investor safe. It's a paradise for safety, in my opinion. I think that's what makes Dubai so special.
Listen, I call Dubai a staycation. It's truly a staycation.
Yeah.
If you, and I use that stay as a mantra for other things. If you stay free of overspending,
right?
If you stay debt-free, it becomes a staycation.
It does.
Right? Because one of the biggest problems that face most people here is that they run out of money living that Dubai lifestyle. So if you stay smart, you live within the system. You don't live above your means. This place is it's been a 5-year vacation since I've been back.
That's awesome.
It really is, and when you say investor safe, it is. And getting back to subletting, the beauty of subletting here, I've never lost money subletting.
Wow. Okay.
Ever. Wow. And when people ask me, what are some of the, the pros and cons? What are some of the things that, the risk? It's a very low risk, high reward business.
Right.
And I only do low risk, high reward businesses because if those are available at a premium, I'm going to go into that business for myself and for my investors because I have to do what's safe for me, but also let my investors know, look, I'm doing it, and here's the proof, here's the paperwork, and then they will feel safer, going into the sublet business.
That's awesome. So now we have subletting. You basically work on a unit to unit basis. Have you ever done like partitions where you give one room to somebody else, another room to somebody else?
We stay away from partitioning.
Okay.
Right? Because partitioning isn't legal.
Okay.
In the UAE, right? You can rent your villa because of the new law 24, that has been enacted by the Dubai government. If you would see my first video was in December, right? It was in December. And the reason why I came out in December, because I knew the law was going to be enacted in January, which states that you can sublet properties with the permission of the owner. Right? Co-living men and women are now permitted.
Wow. Okay.
So families inside of a room inside of your villa are permitted as long as they're on the ijari. You get me?
Yeah.
So they gave us that tangible. You don't have to do things that are illegal when the government has now given you tangibles, outside of now allowing subletting with the owner's consent. So that goes back to all my contracts has the owner's consent. Because I have a holiday homes company that says, look, I have the owner's consent, call an NOC, no objection letter for holiday homes, or a no objection letter for subletting.
Okay. Wow. And before we get any deal, I've seen from personal experience, do you consult with a lawyer before doing any business investment? I mean, it's a bit off topic when it comes to subletting, but do you anytime see loopholes or traps set by owners, which put you in a tough position? And how do you, come across that?
I'll say this. Most of the owners I deal with are Asian.
Okay.
They're Asian owners because they're huge in the market,
right?
In Dubai's market, and they own a lot of property here. I've had good experience with all of them.
That's awesome.
Right? That's the first thing. And I hate to bring up nationality, but I'm just letting you know and others know whatever stereotypes we have of anyone, you're absolutely wrong. You do good businesses when I win and you win.
Yeah.
Right? And anytime you walk into a room and the person feels like you're doing good business with them, they're going to treat you well.
100%.
Right? But let me go back to that. So most of the owners, I'll say 50% of the owners are, my old owners are pretty much Asian.
Okay.
One of the things that they see is my profile first.
Right.
So agents go to them and say, look, this is Jamie Watkins. This is his profile. You already want me. See, I like this guy.
It's social proof.
He's doing good business, you know, and I like his concepts. They see my videos. They know what their home is going to look like when I finish with it. It's going to look better than when they were living there.
Correct.
You know, so we have that element that I'm pretty known, a pretty known person, and I'm known for doing this. Outside of that, 100% of the people I do business with now are Emiratis.
100% now.
100%, yeah.
Okay.
Because in those lower income areas, no one else is able.
It's GCC holders, correct?
GCC holders, right? They Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. They can all own in those Karama areas, those rigor areas, right? And I love doing business with them, honestly. Honestly, I love doing business with them. I think they're a bit of fresh air for me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of fresh air for them because you're not going to see an American guy in Karama doing business.
Yeah.
So I think that they appreciate that. And so it was a time when I used to have to go out looking for owners to sublet, you know, to do a deal with them to sublet. Now they come to me.
That's exactly. You want inbound people, you know,
Right.
it's first come, first serve, or I work with you or I don't because of my needs. That's awesome. And have you ever thought about, you mentioned that there's a lot of empty land that they're destructing a lot of homes in the Satwa and Karama area. How do you know, what can somebody do who's a new investor to take plan on this, you know? What can they do?
What can a new investor come in and do? Well, you know, only Emiratis can purchase in those areas, right? They can only build because it's you know, Emirati GCC area, right? For investors, which I have a lot of investors, I think we raised over $1 million in the last few months, really without trying very much. So investors are really heavy with me right now and looking at what I'm doing, right? So let's say, for example, I get an investor, I bring an investor in. How does that work, if that's what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay, I bring an investor in. I tell the investor, look, this building over here, this building is going to bring you this much.
Right.
I never give them the actual value. What I know is the building is going to bring in, I always go lower. And then, we
under promise, over deliver. That's the number one in business, 100%.
Right? So a lot of times people see me do videos and I'm like, oh, you can make 30% here, 50%. No, you're really going to make 100%.
Okay. Okay.
You're going to make 100% returns, but you don't want to preach that to anyone because they'll hold you to that. And for whatever reasons that doesn't happen,
You're
you're
liable.
held to that. You know, so it's better for me under promise, over deliver. And I do that on every occasion, right? And so again, if someone comes in, they want a building, I locate the building. I said, okay, look, it's going to run you about $500,000 for this building. Most of the buildings in those areas run you about 1.2 to 1.5 million a year to sublet for rent. I bring in an investor. I tell the investor this, look, you take this building. It's a turnkey project for you. I'm going to do everything, negotiate with the owners, rent the place up, do whatever modifications are needed inside, and I'm going to manage the building. You sit at home, you parlay, and drink coffee and bring in, you know, this passive income on a monthly basis because we usually do it dividends monthly, right? And so with that, you know, usually I charge a consultancy fee. Which I charge about 100,000 dirhams to do the consultancy fee. And I'll tell you why. When people say, yo, that's expensive, it's not expensive compared to what you're going to make off the property. You're going to get 50% returns. If you put in 500,000, you're going to make 250,000 a year, minimum.
You make your money back 1 year, 2 years?
You'll make your money back, I would say, probably within a year, right? You start profit, you know, the next year is all profit.
Yeah.
You know, 100% profits pretty much, right? But for my side, I'm 100,000. I'm expensive because I know what I'm doing, and it's a turnkey project, and it's very low risk. I even put in my contract, if my projections are not met, I'll take the building from you, and I'll keep it. Right? Again, why does it cost you 100,000 for me to consult on this project?
Because you spend millions. You spend millions doing this.
I spent millions in time.
Right.
My time is the biggest currency for me. It's the biggest currency. My time is more important to me than the money that I receive, right? So now, again, they pay me the 100,000. Also, I'm creating a competitor.
Right.
I'm creating a competitor for myself. Of course, I'm going to charge you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
You profit wherever you can, basically.
You're profiting, but I'm giving you all my knowledge and showing you how to beat me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I create a competitor in the market. We do two things. You're going to give me a consultation fee. I'll get paid for that. And in the contract, I have to manage this property. Right? And any properties you do after this, I manage them. First of all, there's no one going to manage your property like I can. I truly believe I'm probably one of the best property managers in the UAE.
Wow.
Because I'm certified by IREM, Institute of Real Estate Management. I've been certified by them for the last 20 years,
That's awesome.
25 years, right? I'm New York State certified property manager. So I come with a lot of credentials. So when I say I'm going to manage your property, I'm going to really manage your property, not like what these other people do. You come up to your property, you got gum on the floor, you have people spitting, and no, I know curb appeal. So when you walk up to my properties that I manage, when you look, it looks like the Taj Mahal inside of Karama. You know what I mean? And when you go inside, you're never let down.
It's clean. It's cold. There's a nice security guard.
There's a security guard there. He's clean. Not what you would expect in a neighborhood that most people consider undesirable.
Exactly. I go to Bertha a lot, at least once a week, because I used to live there for my whole life.
Right.
You come back, and it's a feeling that you like. As you mentioned, it's nostalgic. It's amazing. And especially at the state we're in, a majority of buildings in Bertha, especially the Rola Road area, are full of partitions. You have a very few buildings which are still family owned, because you could say 8 years ago, a majority of those buildings were only families. The landlords would say only families. And this normally gets mixed up once the owner of the building passes away, an example if they're old, and it gets under dispute to their family due to Sharia law, right? That's when sometimes of the buildings get shaken up. That's what happened for us.
Interesting point.
So we were living in back at the time, nice building. No pool, but it was full of families. And they only allowed one ethnicity, Indian. They used to have a rule like this. It's a full Indian family building. Everybody basically knows each other. Everybody says hi, hello. And sadly, the owner passed away. He was an amazing guy. And the sons decided to give it to a partition person to take care of everything for him. I let you, as you mentioned, I parlay, and you do everything.
Right.
And the full building went into partitions. There was one day where a shop from below, restaurant F&B, had a gas tank blow up. It wasn't a big fire. It was just a big loud noise. The fire alarms went off. Everybody came down. And you'll be surprised. There's a lot of more people who you think can fit in a partition that actually can. It was like the full building was packed together. And it's crazy where the market's going to. But now that you've touched Satwa, Karama, and these areas, what other areas can you touch? Is there Rimram? Is there the gardens, Al Furjan? Where can you touch Arjan? There's so many other places. What do you think?
I have touched on Marina.
Okay.
I've dealt in Marina. We have a property in Marina that does very well.
Okay.
Right. I don't really mention Marina because when I mention Marina, for me it's bougie.
Yeah.
It's kind of bougie, and I'm not the bougie guy.
Right.
I'm that guy, the blue collar guy. I don't ever want to be seen as the white collar guy. I'm the blue collar guy. I get my hands dirty. I walk the streets of Karama, Riga. That's my image. There was a time where I would walk through Marina and Dubai Hills, but that is not me. It really isn't. I'm more comfortable doing business in the lower income neighborhoods. Why? It's an initiative for me.
Right.
If it's not lower income, I'm dealing with all women housing because those are two initiatives that I have for myself. Affordable housing for all and safe, clean, and suitable housing for women.
Right. There's a lack of that in the market, honestly
It's a lack of it. There's a couple of women doing it, and they do it better than me. Because they're women and they know what other women women want. I think I'm just more popular. I'm going to be better than them soon.
Soon.
Because what happens is that when you have customers and they come in, they're going to give you feedback about what's right and what's wrong. So one of the things I did was I hired all women to run it. There's no men allowed in my female villas.
Wow. Okay. It's a villa.
It's a villa.
And
right?
where are they normally located, like in a rough area?
They're located all over, but in JVC is where I like to have those villas because they're executive. We have executive rooms where these women are like school teachers. We have lawyers. We have bankers. And one of the beautiful things about it all is that when I started, it was an initiative, right? Just, for women's housing. Now, I get calls from the women. They love the place so much. Like they call me saying, look, I don't want to cause any problems, but like if they have an issue or something like that, they're apologetic. And I said, this is exactly what I wanted. I never give my sisters problems. Of course not, but that's what I wanted them to like. I wanted to create a community, right, of women who can live together and they become resourceful for each other.
100%. It's like a sisterhood, if you could say.
It's a sisterhood.
Yeah.
And the resources, if you have 6 women living in a 6-bedroom villa, the way that they pull together, they eat together, right? They sit down, they watch TV together. We've set it up where it's co-sharing, co-living space. You have an area where you can go and do your work if you're working remote. Everything you need is in that villa. And then we have a hostess that's there pretty much 24 hours assisting you. And even the hostess, she cooks for them. They cook for her. It's a family. And that's what I wanted to create in that all-women's housing.
That's an amazing initiative. You won't see many people in Dubai do it because a lot of people who come to Dubai internationally, their main focus is on money.
Right.
That's what sets two different people apart. Somebody who's down to earth, who has initiative, who wants to help, as well as, on the side, of course, create a living for themselves, or one who's just straightforward to money. But what people don't understand is if you provide well, money will come as a byproduct, as I believe. If value is there with the money not as the main focus, by the laws of nature, it will for sure come in your hands.
You know what we said prior, right? We had our conversation off air, right? Two things I want to touch on, right? There's a difference between a man with a business and a businessman. A man with a business, he opens up franchises. He does what everybody else is doing to make money. That's what a man with a business, he's not a businessman. He has money. He goes out. he opens up a McDonald's, or he opens up a franchise,
Yeah.
or he watches what I'm doing and then he copycats. That's a man with a business. There's nothing wrong with him. He's making money, right? A businessman is very creative. He create hybrid models. You know, whatever it is, he adds on to it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? He becomes more creative with a brand that may be very popular out there. He puts his own twist on it. He adds better servicing,
Right.
maybe the same pricing, but better employees. They smell better. They look better. They
Yeah.
dress better. Everything is better
He
than...
always one-ups the person.
Yeah, he one-ups.
gets.
He one-ups you on everything,
Wow.
right? And this is, even that is borderline, but be creative.
Creativity.
Be creative with your business. And that's how you grow. Stop being like everybody else. All you see now, flower shops. Yeah, I'm gonna open up a flower shop. I'm gonna open up an Airbnb company, a
Oh my
holiday
God.
homes, a brokerage.
The amount of hype behind subletting Airbnbs in Dubai as we speak right now on the 12th of August, I believe, is crazy.
Listen, it's so crazy. You know, I dislike Airbnb model with a passion.
Okay.
Right? Because it has too many flaws. Right? It went from being a decent model at the beginning till it not being able to revolutionize itself. It hasn't gone through any evolution and it needs it.
Right.
You mark my words, Airbnb will be in existence in the next 5-6 years, but something else is going to come in,
Right.
more creative, right? And they're not going to sit on the same model or the same platform and continue just to make money. Airbnb is a middleman.
Yeah.
Right? It was a middleman,
Right.
the creators of it, right? But now Airbnb has become like eBay. A person can write a bad review and you beg them not to write the bad review because you know that that bad review can take you down from Superhost, or Airbnb may close your account. So what you do, you get these professional Airbnb tenants, I call them. They come in, they complain, and it's almost like, if you don't give me those 2 days free,
Yeah.
I'm going to write a bad review.
And you're screwed. What do you do now?
You're screwed, and you're at the mercy of the tenant. I'm never going to be at the mercy of a customer. I don't do those type of businesses where I'm at your mercy. And then how much free business we give away because of consumer complaints.
Right.
Companies lose so much money yearly because of consumer complaints and satisfying tenants who aren't really telling the truth.
Right.
Right? So you can actually say, oh, there's a stain, a mosquito stain on my sheet, and I want another room and my money back. You better give that person their money back if you have an Airbnb business, because if she writes that bad review,
You're done.
You're done.
And you see people profiting off people getting bad reviews, because I've seen at least 5 ads now of people advertising of removing Airbnb bad reviews, you know? There's markets opening up
Isn't it
gray
crazy?
areas.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's
you know?
crazy.
Somebody finds a way to make some money left, right, and center.
I don't knock subletting. If somebody does Airbnb, there's a lot of people good out here that does Airbnb. I think it's a stinky model, right? Even though you make money off of it, it's a stinky model, and I don't touch it. Right? I'm not saying I wouldn't use their platforms, but using their platforms as a sole, as how can I say, only Airbnb or Booking.com? No, I would never do that. They would probably become 5% of my business, because I have to marginalize companies that have no control. And I truly feel Airbnb has no control over their platforms, because they can't control the clients. And since they're a client-based company, right, entity, and their client-based entity, they have to make sure the client comes first and I'm last. No, so I put my business in my own hands. If I lose money, it's going to be because of me, not because of a platform.
Wow. I mean, yeah, Airbnb is a bit crazy right now. Talk about Airbnb. Something similar I've seen in the market right now is real estate agents and real estate brokerages. You'll hear one person left saying, I'm opening up a brokerage after 1 year experience in the market. You'll hear somebody on the right saying, I'm going to become a real estate agent. The commissions are amazing. I have no experience in the market, but I'm going to do it. And a majority of these agents aren't selling you properties which are going to help you make money, either capital appreciation or rental income. Because I come from a family of old parents, so the one goal they want is passive income because they don't want to work. Once you retire, you don't want to be, carefully taking money out of a bank account which is going to go to zero in the next 5 years. You want passive income rolling in always, which you can rely on. And this is, I think, the big mistake agents are making is they're very short-term thinkers. They always think my commission now, and then solve my problem after that. And it's, you can speak on, but I think you've seen more of me.
I've had my own brokerage.
Okay.
Right? That brokerage business is a dog-eat-dog world, right? You have to be a shark to be an agent. The reason, I'm not a salesman.
Okay.
Contrary to what people think, and I'm not an agent. I don't sell anything, and I don't sell properties. The only time I would talk about a property is if someone has one and I just want to plug them into my network. But I don't do the agent thing. And I believe that chasing up people and following up and calling them, I can't do that. I don't have those guts.
Yeah,
It's
not easy.
I don't like being turned away. You can speak to Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, and all these great salesmen. Hey, if someone slams a door in your face, it'll get slammed 100 times.
Yeah.
That 101 person is going to purchase. Not me. I'm not going to have one door slammed in my face.
Yeah.
I stick to what I know. I make money off what I know. I'm the one to say yes or no.
Uh-huh.
You need me. I don't need you. That's the kind of business I like. And I'm not being arrogant.
Yeah.
Because I know how I'm going to treat you when you come to speak to me about how to make money. Now, getting to the agents, right? Most of the time, the agents, they come here. A lot of agents become agents because they need a visa to stay in the country, right? I have my own agency, and owners know this, right? They needed a visa to stay in the country. They can't find a job. So becoming a real estate agent is the easiest thing to do to get you a visa. And sometimes some real estate agencies pay a basic wage, right? And you may close a couple of deals in a month, right? One of the things I don't like about having a brokerage is that maybe 10% of your force are the earners.
Other 90% are...
The other 90% are disengaged. They're just around. And if they make $5,000 for the month and they can pay their rent and they can eat, they okay. They disengage from the job.
But the owner has to pay marketing fees for Property Finder, Bayut, Dubizzle. It's not cheap,
It's not.
I've seen and heard of companies that are currently being spread thin due to the sheer amount of agents they have. And 1 month of too much marketing, your agents then close. And I'm like, oh no, that's a lot of spare funds I have to use. What do I do now?
How many times have I called someone on Bayut myself or Dubizzle or Property Finder and the agent didn't get in touch with me?
A whole lot of times.
Most of the time. Or they have dummy ads up there and say, oh, that's not available anymore.
Yeah.
I can't be in a business like that.
It's a big headache.
It's a big headache, and I can't control 100 agents.
Exactly.
Right? I can't. And people not following up on leads, even though they have safety valves that, these good companies, I would say, like, that I like, Allsop and Allsop. One of the owners just commented on my post.
Sam McCone, maybe?
I don't know his name,
Okay.
man. He's a sweet guy, man.
Okay.
We had some really great dialogue. I said, I'll always promote these guys, right? Then I only promote 3 real estate companies. Novi Properties, right? Which is owned by a brother named Omar. I look at him like a little brother. The young man is a genius. Love the guy, right? I worked with him, so I know him. And how he is when it comes to the business. Then it's, I think Allsop and Allsop. I think the guy, whoever, one of the brothers I got in touch with, he got in touch with me, commented on one of my posts, and sweet guy. Love these guys, right? And EXP, which I'm a part of.
EXP is UK-based brand, if I'm not
it's
wrong.
American-based. It's fastest growing real estate company in the USA. And they, they have IPO, so they are listed. It's a listed company. Probably one of the only listed companies in America that's a conglomerate. Like they are 90,000 agents all over the world. So I'm with them, and that's who I run with EXP. If I'm not dealing with EXP, it's going to be Novi Properties, right? But pretty much these are the people that I look at as those I trust in this in this business.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to touch on something, right? the majority of the brokerages that are very successful here were brokerages run by former agents,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And they're very successful. Some good and some not so good. Some came around in the early days, established themselves, and are doing very well.
Yeah.
One of the problems I have, and this is not all of them, this is just a few of them, they still haven't developed into businessmen.
Okay.
They still have an agent's mentality, but they have money now.
Right.
You get me?
Agents, from what I understood, are very incredibly short-term thinkers. They can't think for 6 months ahead of time. From what I've seen, from
Right.
the people I've spoke to, compared to people I've seen, one of my clients, he's been in the market for 18 years. He will always think 1 year down the line. He will never think 2 months down. Always 1 year, because the longer you think, the more rewards that last a long time. You know, you don't get short-term rewards, you get long-term rewards, which is what everybody wants. And that's the difference between a proper agency owner and somebody who's just here for an agent's mentality and see a bit of
I'll tell
success.
you, and touching on what you were saying before, right? For me, I love to see people businesses grow.
Uh-huh.
You know, and the big boys like House and House, Fam, Allsop and Allsop. When I see these guys, I love it. I love to see people with a good story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like these guys actually made it. And some of those guys that have created those businesses, I've either heard of them from employees,
Right.
or I know them personally. Great people. Great people. And that's why they have employees that stay with them for years.
Right.
You know, they don't have a high turnover. These companies I just named, you know, Novi Properties, EXP, just to name 5 of them, right? When you look at their turnover is not very high. Some of them I really don't know about.
Right.
But what I'm speaking on is that most of these guys are good motivational speakers. They're innovative, and they really changed the industry. I have all the props in the world for these guys. The rest of them, they can go kick rocks.
100%.
Really.
I see where you
I
come
really
from.
feel that way.
I do feel the same way that you feel, because I've seen some agency owners, the owner himself, he has never done real estate before. He opens up a company, he goes to the brokerage, he tells his agents to stay there and steal people's clients. I've seen that happen in front of my eyes, and it's a big turn off to me.
Right.
But it's crazy with the market.
It's you know, the whole brokerage market, to each his own.
Yeah,
I want everyone to get money.
100%.
I truly do. When I say that I love to see you and this guy and Bobby I want everyone to make money, right? I do appreciate businessmen who are very creative and they come out with something like, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Of course, you're Elon Musk, you're Zuckerbergs, right? You're Gates, you're Steve Jobs, you're who was this other guy? The Amazon guy. You know,
Bezos.
I love this. I love to see people come up with something, and I shake my head and say, wow, why didn't I come up with that?
Off the topic, but I met one guy at a networking event maybe 3 years ago. He runs a software which is an AI. So his services, he'll shoot a podcast with you, he'll get everything ready. Instead of him having to edit the videos, he'll use AI, his own AI, to cut, edit amazingly the videos, send it to you. You post one a day and you have 100K followers. You have 10K followers. It's amazing concepts I see these guys do, which nobody else is doing. It's a full 360 done for you service. Right. You just come in for 1 hour, you shoot with me, an example in a studio like this, and you're ready to go.
He makes the reels and everything for you.
He does AI. He uses his own AI to do it. It's amazing.
Listen, I need to know who this guy is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if anyone can make content easy for me, I need to speak to them, because I literally sit down 18, 19 hours a day on content. And people say, why? One video that a content provider can put out, and you and I were speaking about this, I'll go into something else.
Yeah.
One video means $100,000 to $300,000 for me.
Okay, wow.
One video, right? And people wonder why my stuff is so raw.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in Karama, if I'm dealing with rigor, and I'm walking these streets, what I look like having a prissy clean image, that's not who I am.
It's not who you are. You should always be who you are.
You got to be who you are.
Exactly.
You know, and being who I am is what made me who I am.
Exactly. That's why that's why you do what you do. That's why people like you.
And one of the things I tell people, especially if you're doing real estate, listen, 5 years from now, the world is going to hate you.
100%.
You keep selling those properties that are decreasing in value after the handover, not generating the rental yields you promised.
You're screwed. You're screwing yourself.
You're really hurt. You're hurting your future. You don't even realize it because you're a short-term thinker.
100%.
I bought 13 properties in Ras Al Khaimah. I'm just letting people know I'm a visionary. I see things before you see it. This is 27 years of real estate experience. I'm not a young man. I'm 53 years old.
Wow.
Right? So most people think I'm young. I'm a spring chicken. No, I've been in this game for a long time. I was in this game before Dubai had property management.
Right.
I couldn't get a job in Dubai as a property manager because it didn't exist. So I was here from the beginning. I saw their ups and their downs and everything else. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I'm an authoritative figure on watching the market and analyzing things from not only my experience, but my gut feeling.
Gut. You should always trust your gut in most times.
Your gut feeling is only things that have happened to you in the past that has transpired that brings you to an answer, right? Because that's what a gut feeling is. Like, I shouldn't do this. Why? Because you've gone through this subconsciously. You've had this happen and it's still in your subconscious. Something has happened to you and you know to avoid this thing, but you just can't go back to it. And it's in your furthest memory, but you're feeling like, I shouldn't do this thing. There's a reason. Yeah. That's your gut feeling. But it was actually an event that happened that brought you to this decision.
100%.
Right? And that's what people have, that your gut feeling is actually experience. Yeah. Right? My gut feeling tells me that the market is going to go somewhere else. Why do people keep writing me, telling me, oh, you're wrong about the market going down? No, you're just afraid that the inevitable is going to happen.
Exactly. People are afraid.
Stop being afraid and brace for it. What am I bracing for right now? I'm getting all my chips up. So when there is a downturn in the market,
it's just to happen. It always happens.
It
this
has
is a cycle.
to.
This is a cycle.
It's a cycle, right? Like in business, we learned every 7 years there'll be a recession. Right. The market will correct itself. Right. Like no country is going to be immune to market correction. It's going to happen.
Happens to everybody.
How do I brace for it? I'm getting all my liquid together now, and I want people to hear me now. I'm getting all my liquid cash together. So when there is a dip in the market, I'm going to buy your properties at pennies on the dollars and tell you, I told you so. I told you so. Brace for it. Don't overbuy.
Investors get rich in a recession.
This is where we make our money.
Exactly. Now imagine you focus on these lower income communities. Imagine you go to the higher income communities. You go to Dubai Hills, you go to Al Gulf. Investors bought for 2.5 million on launch. They're now making $450 a month in rent. That's a 13% rental yield because it's inflated. But now imagine in 2027, 2028, when we see the market slow down, because it's destined to happen every 7 years, you're going to get more opportunities like these. Maybe you don't have as much as funds. Maybe things went wrong. There's always a way you can get in. You get a mortgage. You get a 25-year mortgage, and you keep it for 8 years instead of 5 years. Once the market's back up, you're going to be making a whole lot of money on your mortgage, like difference, and you have an amazing rate of interest. Right. There's so many things people can do, and it's fantastic.
And the thing is that I don't want people to be out here selling properties and promising potential buyers, the world, and then you can't live up to, the property won't live up to what you're promising 100%. Them, right? It hurts the market.
It does. It hurts their colleagues too.
It hurts the market. It hurts the quality of the market that we're in, right? Because you get sour. You get sour owners, right? People seeing that their prices are dropping, and then they start backing out of off-plan deals, or feeling like, oh, I got jerked. Because whenever an owner of a property buys a property and that property decreases in value, the agent is the worst person they ever met in their life. And Dubai becomes the worst place they've ever invested. And then they start speaking bad about the place. There are too many good developers out there selling really good properties that's going to hold their value, like Emaar, like boutique developers. Well, they're bigger than boutique now, Ellington.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They're luxury, quality developer.
These government
Exactly.
entities,
The government developers are
prefer
always
them
like them.
because they can navigate the market. If you notice, every time the government entities come out with a particular property, it becomes a centralized location.
Exactly.
The metro goes there, or the road that's leading there, new road opens up. So why don't you just go government?
Exactly. It's always safe. I mean,
It's the safest bet.
the risk to reward is very low. You're going to have a very low risk when investing in the government developer, and you have a very high reward. Because when you invest in private developers, personal experience, I think I mentioned this before, bought a commercial property, 2008, developer ran away, and the property was left stranded. What do you do now? I mean, it got taken over after 10 years.
Right.
But when you invest in a government developer, the government developer can't go bankrupt. It's the government.
Right. It's the government. They have great projects as well, and they're trustworthy.
Yeah.
Right. Now, because of the escrow and all these other things happening in the market now and what developers must do before they sell properties, it has protected the UAE. The UAE, I feel very comfortable purchasing properties here and not worrying about what happened to me in 2008 because I was here and I lost a lot of money in 2008. That will not happen now.
It won't hit as hard. People can't leave their projects.
It won't happen. It'll be something new where we like,
that's bad.
This has to be corrected. But it's not going to be like what happened to us in 2008. I have too much faith in the authorities here that will never happen again. So, but again, I truly believe that going with government properties are your best bet. Even though, look at Emaar. Emaar is so vanilla, as one of my colleagues would say before. They're so vanilla, but they're trustworthy. They're going to finish on time, and you're going to get bang for your buck. You're going to get the rental yield, and you're going to get appreciation
100%
on that property.
The one last question I have for this podcast is subletting commercial properties and everything about commercial properties. I see so many residential properties being launched. I see warehouses in big demand, Russell Cores in big demand, Al-Qusas in big demand. I see nobody's launching commercial properties.
In subletting?
In subletting and in launches as general. Are we going to have so many residents come in, 5 million by 2033, and where are they going to work?
I'll tell you this, right? I can't answer a question that I don't deal with that market. I don't deal with the commercial market and subletting of warehouses and things of that nature. But you touched on something else, right? So I really don't have an answer for that, the commercial part of it. What I would say is that you and your intelligent self, you start investing in subletting these commercials, and I'll put the money up for you. You heard it on air. I'll put the money up for you. You start going into that business. If I think that it's it's the right direction to go into, I'll help you out with it. The second thing, people are banking on the 250,000, 1 million people, whatever it is that's coming into the country. I have a question. I have my own take on that, right? First of all, give me the numbers at how much these people are going to be making when they come in. Are these workers that are mid-level? Are they management? What level are they on?
I mean, you can see a majority of people. I think they have these graphs now showing people are leaving the US, people are leaving Ukraine, people are leaving Russia.
More millionaires are coming to the UAE. It's great for the UAE, and it's great for the hype for the UAE. I want everything that good can happen to the UAE. I want it to happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't plan on leaving, right? Here's the thing. But I do not deal with things that don't concern me. I am concerned with the underprivileged communities 100%. And affordable housing.
Right.
How am I going to be affected there? One of the things that I do know is that those areas are pretty much recession-proof.
There's always demand. They have to stay somewhere.
The demand
is there. Have to stay somewhere.
They have no place, it's so many people there. So out of that 250,000 people that are coming in, I don't care who's going to buy off-plan properties, who's going to buy secondary.
Right.
I don't care. I only care about from those people who are coming into my neighborhoods that I can house.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's my, my take on people coming to me all the time telling me, more people are coming into the country. It's not going to affect my business. If it's going to affect my business in any way, I want to hear it. If not, it doesn't concern me.
That's fair. Well, I think that's a wrap. It was amazing speaking with you, Jamie. There was so much value in this episode. We have to, get more people on. It's going to be awesome. The amount of value shared is just phenomenal. I think both of our followers are going to see great value and maybe get ideas, maybe propose new ideas to you, to me.
Right.
And it's going to be a big future ahead. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.
And thank you. You're great. You're
Thank you.
great. Really great host. Thank you so much.